What's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 976 of FloWrestling Radio Live, State College Edition. I'm your host, Christian Piles, joined today by Ben Funky Askren, James Dean Rader. He's in the same building as me, just a different room.
Oh, really?
He thought he would have
is cute.
Is that adorable or what?
Yeah, I'm really
way
sad you guys
cuter
got together.
Way cuter than your background, which I find repulsive and nauseating.
I got this made last week, but you guys are gonna be upset. I got another edition. So I was at Missouri yesterday and I got honored and it was awesome. But then after they're like, we got something else for you. And I'm like,
oh no.
How are you gonna how do you have something else for me? You guys already, took care of me real good. So I go upstairs. Seth Mendoza is there on a recruiting trip, apparently.
No.
Look what he brought me.
No, Seth.
Yeah, let's go. So I got home late last night. I haven't been able to mount this thing, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know, maybe like right up here or so somewhere. You guys can read it and weep.
Gosh.
And Seth will make another one for whoever wins this year. I might have two in a row. Could be possible. We'll see. I'm in the lead right now.
You're in the lead by one pick. Right now. Yeah, man, that's actually, I can't even be mad, even though I can be mad at Seth because Seth, that's messed up.
You can't just like monopolize his talents. Anyone can commission a piece of artwork by Seth.
That's actually incredible. And I wanted to start, with something more sentimental after you were honored, but now I just want to move on and pretend you didn't get a tremendous honor bestowed upon you at your alma mater. But why don't you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, it was awesome. I didn't know what was happening, and I think they knew we were bringing the AWA group there. But just like on Monday, they sent out the itinerary and it said Ben Askren presentation. I was like, what am I presenting, Coach Smith? He's like, no, we're giving you something. So yeah, they made this really awesome trophy case with my Hodge trophy and a cool picture, and it just looks really great. And it was just an honor. And I don't just go in there every time. It's like I said it 21 years ago. Coach Smith said, Missouri's gonna be a really, really good wrestling program, and they were terrible. And it took us a few years, but my senior year we took third, and now since then they've been like almost in the top 10 every year. And I think I counted on the list, it was I think 8 of the last 9 years that have been top 7, which is pretty ridiculous. There's very few programs that are that consistently that high.
Very true. Very true. And it was cool to see them honor you. You're the one that got it going there. So yeah, congrats. Cool. And if I end up in Columbia, I'll have to go and pay my respects, and I won't deface it, even though you post embarrassing graphics of me with tears in my eyes. That's okay.
Such a good graphic.
We have so much to talk about. So much happened. We had folk style. We had freestyle. We had all kinds of stuff. I think we started at the Farrell, and then we get into the college stuff. Yeah. Ben was there because he had two scrappers there in the mix, Cole and Connor Mirasola. But before we get to that, let's get to the results, the final results, and starting with Spencer Lee, who dominated his way to the finals with all techs, and then had a really competitive match with Nico Megaludis. Ben, what were your thoughts on Spencer and his performance overall?
I actually just went back and watched the finals. I caught a flight to Missouri. His finals it was 6-4, 7-4 on the challenge. Nico got a late, there was a late exchange where he got 2, Spencer got 2, he got 2 back. And he almost put Spencer some trouble because it was where there was a crotch lock turn to the head and go to half Nelson. And Spencer was able to get off his back. But I thought good performance by Spencer. I think maybe a little, you and I both said Spencer by 5 or greater last Thursday. And I think, I think you took it pretty quickly. So the fact that it was so competitive, I want to see him against some of these other better guys. So hopefully he's going to be at the Open against some other really high-level guys.
Yeah, no chance he goes to that.
None?
No reason. Why would he do that?
Man, I mean, you guys know how I feel about competition, especially given the fact that he's only wrestled with maybe 15 freestyle matches in the last 6 years. Like, to get a few extra matches in and try to get better. I mean, honestly, it's kind of scary the fact that you guys both shook your head so quickly, because it's like is he going to be? I guess he's on a match count for the rest of his life, where he's going to wrestle as few as possible because of injury precautions. But
Well,
that's kind of scary.
he said in his post-match interview he'll go back and assess. I could see him maybe wrestling overseas somewhere, but I think it's unlikely we see him at the US Open in a couple weeks. That's the thing. It's just so close to this tournament. That's a qualification tournament. He's already qualified.
Yep.
So don't be surprised if he goes internationally somewhere and competes in January, February, but I think it's unlikely he wrestles at the US Open.
Yeah, no chance. No chance he goes. Yeah, I mean, I thought it's interesting because JD and I actually were talking about this last night about how close Spencer was to probably teching Nico. If he gets one turn with that lace
On that first leg transition.
He takes it through. And then
it was close.
It was close. And then what are we saying? Are we saying, okay, Spencer looked good, but he teched his way and we don't know how he can do in a full 6-minute match yet.
Yeah.
But then he goes 6 minutes and, Nico scores some points in the second. So now we've seen him that way. I'm not sure what would put more, confidence, but I feel like Nico is a little slept on as a freestyler. And I think he's an interesting guy down at 57. I thought Spencer looked like he hadn't wrestled someone with that kind of like speed to the leg in a while, and it showed. And Nico was getting in pretty consistently. So
yeah.
I think Spencer has a lot to take away from that performance. He was upset afterwards. He threw his thing, whatever they handed him, he threw it as soon as he
medal.
Yeah, it was a medal. Yeah, he just threw it immediately. So he's certainly not satisfied, but he's in the trials.
Yeah,
he looked healthy.
He didn't gas nearly to the level we've seen in a few of the other performances. He obviously was more tired at the beginning than he was at the end than he was at the beginning, but he kind of wrestled hard the whole 6 minutes. The one thing I would say from a critical standpoint is like his mobility didn't look great. I don't know if you guys were watching the way he was moving, but he was very like, and he kind of always has been to a certain extent, but kind of like really static in his stance. Did you notice that?
I thought there were a few low shots where I thought Nico just caught him totally flat-footed.
Yeah.
I did notice that. Are you saying mobility as in like he wasn't moving, or he's just not fluidly?
Yeah. He just wasn't moving a lot. And whether that's because an injury thing or, I mean, like I said, he's always kind of been like that a little bit. So maybe it's not too much of a change, but yeah, just he wasn't moving a whole bunch, especially you generally think of, small guys, they move a lot. And so it just was a drastic contrast to me.
He comes out and hand fights so hard in the beginning. Like you can tell it really, it affects people really. Like he basically makes these guys just fire underneath, and looks so good defensively that he can punish a lot. So it was great seeing him back. I think adds a lot more excitement. I thought he looked bigger. I tweeted about that. I thought he looked big.
Yeah, I agree with that sentiment.
Fewer weigh-ins will probably help him be a more full-size 57 if he wasn't already. But really the story, even though most people were talking about Spencer, the story of the Farrell was Caleb Larkin.
Oh, yeah.
What the heck? This dude's crazy. I mean, listen, he's a good wrestler, good recruit, good prospect. But I didn't know he had this kind of freestyle ability. He beats Mendez, he beats Lugo, and he beats Kolodzik. That's crazy.
Yeah. I think a lot of people forgot about him because he had the hip surgery or whatever, and he's been out, and we haven't seen him compete a whole bunch. He did compete in the junior trials, I believe. It was up at 70 though, and this is probably a little better weight. I think it was up at 70, and this is probably a little better weight class for him. So he looked great. He's really tough in kind of all positions, like his brother Kyler. Man, they just wrestled really well in so many different positions, and they're flexible and they're hard to deal with for a lot of people.
And for the record, at juniors, he still took third. He only lost to Nero 4-4.
Yes. Oh yeah. I remember that match. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, he looked also huge at 65.
Huge.
I mean, you say better weight, and I'm like, how many times can he make this weight? I mean, I don't know what he walks around at, but I thought he looked absolutely enormous.
Yeah. I mean, he's skinny, obviously, and tall, so he's much
Yeah.
taller than most guys this weight class. I have no idea how hard it is for him, actually.
Yeah, I don't either. But he's going to be a fun guy to watch, for Arizona State. I'm sure he's not going to wrestle this year for them
But
in
they should be able to
varsity.
use him in 5. So we should be able to see him at least a couple times. And I don't know, Arizona State didn't bring a very competitive squad to Missouri yesterday. And I'm sure guys like Caleb Larkin will make it much more competitive. But there's other guys like Jesse Vasquez wasn't in the lineup. I don't know his injury status. Reggie Figueroa wasn't in the lineup. So they were definitely missing a handful of dudes.
Yeah, no Schultz either, right?
No Colton Schultz, no Ja'Cory. Yeah, there was
no Figueroa.
Yeah.
Skeleton crew for the Sun Devils. Have they announced if Colton's taking an Olympic shirt? Are they planning to?
I have no idea. Like I said, we assumed he was because it's Greco, not freestyle. So we just assumed that would be the case. Who they threw out there heavyweight was not very competitive. I don't know him. Hadn't seen him really wrestle before. Yeah, but they got to use Caleb at least a few times, right? Wouldn't you?
You would think.
You would think.
You
right?
would think.
And then is Geary is going to be redshirting also, but I guess you can't use him because he's not a true freshman.
True.
Yeah. So
true.
Okay.
So we'll see with that. Any other
at 65?
Bill Farrell
Aiden Valencia looked really good. He had a crazy match with Colin Real Budo that he ended up winning at the end. His match with Kolodzik was also kind of crazy. I want to say Kolodzik won towards the end, I believe.
9-7, I think, was the final on that one.
9-7. DeSanto he's just not. I don't think he's big enough to be competitive in this weight class. The Kolodzik really kind of bullied him in a first period tech fall. And I want to say he lost to Lugo in the wrestleback. Am I right on that, JD?
No, he got third, I'm pretty sure.
Did he beat Lugo?
I'm pretty sure he beat Yaya Thomas for third.
He did. He tech falled Yaya on the backside.
I really thought
I can't remember if that match was. The repechage was weird, so I can't remember if that match was for.
I thought he lost to Lugo.
Bronze.
What was this? Okay, now I gotta.
I'm looking now
because the wrestlebacks were also very, very straight.
DeSanto beat Lugo 2-1, and then he beat Yaya 13-3.
Dude, that's legit.
Yeah, it's a good win.
I do think the size is a problem for him, and making the team this year is going to be really, really hard. But even still beating a Yaya and Lugo, who are, I think, good size 65s, is a good sign.
Yeah. Every match, every point in Lugo DeSanto was shot clock. I just looked at that.
Gotta love it. Trent Hidley, man, he was crazy.
Well, JD, tell us why freaking Mark Hall had to wrestle whatchamacallit first round.
Kinshadze.
Yes. What is the deal there?
So USA Wrestling used their Penn ranking system for this tournament. Now, they did say USA Wrestling national staff was going to look over the international guys and kind of try and separate them. So I'm guessing Kinshadze just slipped through the cracks there on that one.
Holy
Slippy did.
For the record, Mark did beat him for bronze.
Oh my God, he did. Yeah. Holy crap.
But kind of, got to beat him on the front side here because only the top person qualifies, top placing.
Yeah. I mean, huge impact there. I don't know, any system that has a high schooler as the top seed and a senior world silver medalist unseeded should maybe be called into a little bit of question.
Yeah.
Especially, this is an important tournament, and it seems like they really love the high school kids. I mean, Mirasola got a 4, right?
Because they compete more.
Yeah, but against who?
I know, but that's
what are we talking about? Compete more?
Yeah.
No, compete more at the senior level. That's why we separate the levels.
Yeah.
That's why we have U17 and U20 and U23 and senior level, because there's a difference, and you can't compete a lot because you win Fargo and because you go to junior trials. That's not a criteria over senior level. There's got to be that separation. And you can't look at it just like how much do you wrestle. Who do you wrestle? Where do you wrestle? What events? That has to be a consideration. I'm not saying you shouldn't factor in someone like Luke Liljedahl. He should not be unseated. You shouldn't say Conor Mirasola, just throw him in there. But you got to, this guy, a world silver medal, senior
It's so
level.
preposterous.
What are we doing?
I love your passion, Christian. It's really
great. It's so
no, I'm serious. I love it. Yeah. It's awesome. It's because you're totally right. Like, they're trying to roll out this pin system, and I think it has the possibility of being amazing, right? And really,
I agree.
If they do it, disc golf has a round rating system where every round is rated. Chess does, right? So they could, but they gotta make the algorithm right. And I think it may be because they don't have enough matches yet. But in that case, because we actually did it for the P&L in Chicago this year, and we looked at it and we were all like, wait a minute, no. And we actually did the manual changes because it got a few of them right, but there was a lot of them that were wrong. So we manually changed a bunch. And so I think at some point they're going to tweak the algorithm to where they get it right. To where, Conor is going to wrestle some senior level stuff, or some U23s are going to cross over, and you're going to have everyone kind of in the right spot because it's just a number, right? So you're going to have everyone in the right spot, but it ain't there right now. So yes, Conor was kind of a beneficiary of a 4 seed over a bunch of other people. He maybe shouldn't have. He did compete really well, right, to his defense, but man. Yeah, the Kinshasa number 2, when this is Olympic qualifier, I mean, that kind of really screws Mark Hall.
Yeah, absolutely. It's important. So I think they'll get it right too. I think it is I think how y'all use it at P&L makes sense. Like, use it as a starting point. It gets it close. And then the glaring things like a Kinshasa unseated, a Luke Liljedahl number 1. Yeah. You move those things around and you probably got something good. Ultimately, Trent Hidlay was the best guy in the building for that weight anyways, based on the results. But, you shake up or if Kinshasa doesn't have to go through a war against Mark Hall early, maybe he gives Hidlay a better run and he hangs on that last 3 seconds of the match, right? It's a lot of what ifs.
No, but I mean, that Kinshasa, he had some battles because Webster wrestled him reasonably tough. Morgan wrestled the whole match against it. He got tech fault 556, but so he kind of had 3 battles by the time he got to the semifinals against Hidlay. And if you guys haven't watched it, that's match of the tournament for sure. Flo's gonna give him $50,000 bonus for performance of the weekend. This match was awesome. It was crazy because Hidlay, got down, and then he had it was a 4-point throw on the edge that was pretty wild. And you're like, oh my gosh, Kinshasa, why'd you do that? That was dumb. And then a lot of times the foreigners gas are like, okay, Hidlay's up big. It's kind of over-ish now, And then he just starts chipping away. I want to say he got 3 takedowns. And the last one was like not a lot of time left. And Hidlay went and got a 4-pointer. And it was an awesome sequence because it was like one thing to the next. Then he got in a good position. And then Kinshasa went quad, and he somehow picked him up and bombed him.
Yeah, it was so just a thrilling finish, and how hard Hidlay wrestles is really, really impressive. Like how much he gets out of himself. But it looked like he wasn't going to be able to finish because he got to basically that rear standing quad pod position, and Kinshasa took his left leg and kept stepping it behind, and so Trent couldn't clear the hips.
Yes,
and then eventually. It was like 5 seconds probably in that position, which is a long time. And then he just picks him up and bombs him to his back. It was awesome. It was really exciting. Caleb and I were screaming, scared Katie and Natalie. So it was fun. That was fun. Great event overall, Bill Farrell. I think we could probably turn the page on it and get into some college stuff because there's a lot, unless you got something else, Ben.
Yeah, Nolf was dominant. In most of his matches, except Quincy Monday wrestled him really well. I did not see that one coming. It was like a 7-6 or
Quincy did get one late that made it a little bit closer, but he took Nolf down 2 times.
Yeah, 7-6.
Yeah, regular. He got the 3rd takedown, but the first 2 takedowns were definitely earned by Quincy, and he beat Tyler Berger on the backside as well. So good tournament for Monday.
Yeah, and I think the note in that 7-6 match too is Nolf scored it was 6 points. He got takedown gut. So I think Quincy had 3 takedowns and Jason only had 1. I was kind of like shocked by that. And like, oh man, is Jason sick or is he not doing well? And then he went and killed Kemmer and he killed Marinelli back to back. So then it's like, okay, well, he's, kind of full force. So then it's just really impressive on Quincy Monday's part. And then, yes, he did come back he actually beat JQ's in the third. But JQ somehow found some offense because he beat up on Michael Kemmerer. I didn't see that one coming. It was impressive.
Yeah, your words, not mine.
What's my words? JQ.
No,
man, I never seen this man shoot that much. I watched him 4 years of college wrestling, and then also I'm watching the Bill Farrell. He's firing off shots. I'm like, wait, what happened here? I'm just glad
you said it, not me, so I don't get yelled at by the Tiger faithful.
Oh, you know who I met yesterday?
A scumbag, real sleazeball.
Wick Jacoby was there, in attendance.
TP's biggest fan.
He is.
He might be Johnny from Roanoke. It might be him.
No, he does. Wick doesn't know how to dial long distance. No. He's got a calling card. He doesn't know how to use it.
So funny.
Okay. Let's get to some of the folk style stuff. There was a lot.
I didn't get to watch Iowa versus Oregon State. I had a really insane let's say 72 hours or so. So I'm apologizing. I will watch it at some point soon.
Okay. Well, JD and I did.
Okay.
And man, it started off with a crazy one. Drake gets the first takedown. He's looking like he's kind of all over Kaylor in the beginning. He gets a takedown, looking good. Taylor gets a takedown, kind of real quick on the edge, I think. And Ayala's pushing. He's up by 1 kind of in the last minute final period, whatever. He's trying to get another score. And then he over pursues and gets taken down and loses 7-6. It was kind of, that's where you always want to build your lead, but it's sometimes like you got to be wrestling within yourself a little bit more. It's a learning thing probably for Drake, but I felt like he let himself get way unnecessarily out of position in that match, and it really cost him.
For sure. He had to work really hard to earn that first takedown, too. I'm guessing that took a little bit out of him. And then, just had a slide by attempt. It's just got to be a better attempt. Just gave up that hit to Kaylor.
Yeah, not the way you want to go. The Wisenhunt Teskey match was a major for Teskey, who JD put the note in here. Good to see him after he injury defaulted or medical for. Was it injury default?
He finished his match, but then he didn't wrestle the semifinals or quarter semifinals. I forget how far.
So he medical forfeited it out last week. Little back and forth kind of match, but then ultimately Teskey kind of controlled it 1-10. But Wisenhunt had a couple moments where little dicey. I've got to talk about this. Some of the things I'm seeing in this the top stalling, because I've been ever since Coach Sanderson was talking about it in his media day before the season started, just about his concerns about how Top Wrestling was going to be officiated. I was like, all right, what are they doing differently? And I noticed one thing happened twice in 2 different duels. It happened in the Rutgers Virginia Tech duel, and it happened in the Iowa Oregon State duel. And they hit. Oh, let me think about the order. I think they hit the bottom guy for stalling, then immediately, like within 5 to 10 seconds, hit the top guy for stalling, and then they stalemated it. It was so weird. It happened in I can't remember which match it happened in Rutgers, Virginia Tech. It was
Rutgers. I don't remember that match.
It was really strange, and then it happened with Real Woods, and there was it happened at 1:17 and then at 1:10 in the period, one stall, then another stall. And the dumb thing is, or the illogical thing I'll say is nothing about the position changed. It's the same guy riding the same way. It's the same effort from the bottom guy. Yeah. And you're telling me they're basically the exact opposite thing is happening. You're telling me one guy is stalling, and then you're telling me the other guy is stalling, but they're both. But they're doing the same thing.
I got an idea, Christian. What if they just said you can't do the double stall anymore? What if they want to double stall them and they just said, you're not allowed, you got to go 1, and then 2, you can't go double.
Well, that's what I was thinking about. I was thinking about the double stall because we had a question about it. I was like, is this their version of the double stall?
It might
Because
be.
it might be. It would make more sense if they said both of you are doing nothing, you're both getting warned, than to do it. Because when you do it separately, you're saying, because when you do it separately, you're saying one guy's working to score and the other guy's stalling. And then you're saying 7 seconds later, actually, the opposite is now true. When we know it's not true. We know that cannot be true.
Well, I agree with your sentiment 100%, but the notion that both guys can't be stalling is not true. So, but yes, it would make way more sense.
Yeah.
If it were to be called at the same time, because in some instances, especially like third period tied to like a 1-1 match or something, JD's pursuing Christian, but he's not pursuing him too hard. He's doing a little more than Christian, just not that much more. And the ref's like, I need to create some difference here. So Christian's stalling a little more. So boom, hit him, even though JD's not doing that. That happens for sure, right?
Situational stalling.
Yeah, that's traditional. So yeah, I'd be good with the double stall. If they're both not being aggressive, I don't see the issue. But
be on the lookout for that.
One and then the other. That's very strange.
Yeah, don't do that anymore, guys. We can just
the one that makes me insane, and it happened. And you know what? I actually saw Mike Haggerty, and I should have talked to him because I know he does a lot with the officials, and he's a smart guy. They outlawed the side headlock many years ago, right? Where they count on it. Okay. Well, so many of the refs, they start counting on an assassin. Assassin is a pinning combination. Like, you couldn't be more aggressive. It's totally not a ride. It's not something you want to do if you actually want to stay on top of someone. You're actually doing it because the bottom guy is stalling, and then you're going to try to pin them. And then they start counting on it. And then the top guy only has 5 seconds to turn them over. And so then they got to let it go. It's like, oh my God, this is so dumb. What are we doing here?
Yeah. And unlike a side headlock, you can let go of a side headlock after a 4 count and just relock it. But an assassin, if you let go of it, you're going to get reversed.
Moving, right?
The guy's going to probably get away.
Yeah, unless it got So that happened at, I think it was heavyweight. Elam was trying. He did eventually pin him, but he was trying to, to try to crank him over, and the ref would count, and then he'd have to let it go. And it's like, dude, he's trying to pin him. Like, what are we doing here? This is so dumb.
Yeah, the big story really for Iowa was Gabe Arnold comes out. He gets the 4-2 win over Travis Whitlake, 1 takedown match. It was a nice shot. Started low on the ankle and worked his way up to head outside finish. It was smooth, and you see the defenses there from Gabe. I don't think we're particularly surprised that he's kind of a ready to go right away kind of guy.
No.
And beating a Travis Whitlake has to, the question JD put in there, he's got to be the guy, right? And I say, yeah. And we talked about it last week, JD, when you were out. But basically, Gabe wrestling this year is actually perfect because if Nelson has another year, they can kind of flip-flop while Nelson's out this year. And then Gabe could redshirt next year, theoretically, or move up because I don't know who's going to be there 84 next year, candidly. Do you?
Transfer portal.
Yeah, honestly. Find a smaller program with a really good 84-pounder, and
it's really effed up.
It's sad.
I was talking to Lee Pritz, actually, my old friend, about the transfer portal yesterday, and how it's man, it is just counterproductive because as a club coach, what I want to do is I want to advise my high school kids to go find a place they love and they want to spend 5 years at, right? But it's going to be more financially lucrative for them to go find like a place that kind of like be really great for 2 years, and then get paid and go somewhere else for the last 3. So dumb.
Yeah, it is dumb. So yeah, Gabe's going to go. I'm almost certain. I don't know why they wouldn't use him.
Yes.
And I feel like he could be a difference maker at 174. I think he could place.
Definitely possible. Hey, I was scrolling through all the results because I wanted to be up to date for the show. Kelly Under beats Kikana Ferret, who I don't really know him. But then I saw, oh my God, Matt Olgian. He won maybe it was the Bakersfield Open or something.
Yeah, Roadrunner, yeah.
Yeah. So why was he not with the team?
I think he's probably coming back from injury, and oftentimes you'll see they'd rather give him a couple matches back to acclimate before dropping him in a Carver Hawkeye duel against Michael Caliendo for your first match.
Yeah, that's fair.
But Fourette really wrestled well. He was either winning or tied, like well into the second period, like 6-6 or 7-6, which is obviously surprising. But Caliendo really sort of turned it on at the end to win by 5.
Yeah, I
But
didn't
kind of
know
impressive.
Fourette. I guess
I don't.
I'm looking. He was at
still
Utah
don't.
Valley. He was at Utah Valley for 3 years, and then last year it appears he was unattached, so he didn't wrestle with anybody, and now he's at Oregon State.
Now he's attached.
Yeah, interesting.
Any other JD? Anything else you wanted to touch on here for the Oregon State duel? Yeah, I'll say one more thing. It's like a few little things, and this could have been a little more interesting for Oregon State.
Well,
That
overtime at
Nash
49.
Singleton
How was that?
overtime at 49. That was I mean, I honestly, Voinovich got 99% to probably 4 or 5 different takedowns and just could not get the finish. So that sort of stood out to me. But Voinovich ultimately won. But a winnable match for Oregon State there. If they had Olguin, that would have been big. And if Whitlake can beat a true freshman, then I think that alone would have potentially flipped the result. Yeah, it would have for sure. So 25-11, Iowa runs away with it, but a
ready to
commendable
fast
job
forward.
by Oregon State.
I'm ready to fast forward 6 days. Ames, Iowa, because them Cyclones were looking good against Wisconsin.
Oh my gosh. I mean, yeah, this duel is going to be so bananas. And it's a week. Yeah, less than a week now. Sunday afternoon. Actually, it might be in the evening. I think it's at 2 o'clock Central.
Mm-hmm.
It might be the duel of the year, candidly. I mean,
Duel of the year. Whoa.
I mean,
It's my duel of the year.
I
You're
mean,
from Iowa, JD. It doesn't count.
yeah. He thinks I forget. He thinks Lisbon Don Bosco is the second biggest duel of the year.
It is a great historic duel.
Top 2 duels of the year. No, it really is though, because let's be honest, Iowa Penn State, is cool as that duel normally is. That's not short of, I don't know. I don't know what has.
There's not as much mystery around that duel
No,
as there is with the Iowa State duel, because Iowa State not only has a legitimate shot to win this year, they might be the on paper favorites.
I mean, if they wrestle the same lineups that just wrestled yesterday, I would say they're definitely the favorites.
Man, I almost want to do just a full preview right now, but we ought not.
Wednesday.
We got Wednesday.
Wednesday afternoon.
Yeah, Wednesday at 3:30 Eastern, 2:30 Central, because JD and I are flying back from the All-Star, which we'll get to here shortly. But after we talk about this Iowa State wrecking of Wisconsin, where you say wrecking, yet there was only one upset in the duel, and it was Terrakina over Barnett. Now, it was a 14-3 dominant upset, but listen, Eric Barnett losing to a solid guy is never out of the realm of possibility. It's been something we've talked about on this show for, basically since Barnett emerged as a really tough guy and All-American, but he drops matches like this. It happens. And it happened with Kyson. And then from that point on, Iowa State didn't look back. They won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 by bonus. That's crazy. Carr beats Hamady on an escape and
no
a ride out.
Though I haven't got to watch it yet, but no takedowns. And I guess Carr was in on the legs a bunch of times, but Dean was just really defensively tough to score on, is what I heard.
Yeah, he was close on the one takedown. I think one takedown actually got challenged, but it was not a takedown for him. But Echemindia down at 141 is going to be very interesting. And now they got Swiderski in at 49, and this has got to be their best lineup probably for this year. Iowa State's. Chittum's looking good. He had a major, almost had a pin with a cradle. Younger is just, he just scores so many points.
Christensen, though, he's rough. He was a really good guy out of high school, and now I think he went 0-2 in open also. He's just I don't know what happened.
Yeah, it's sometimes the transition just doesn't happen. Our guy Josh Otto up at 197.
Yeah,
How many
and
cheese curds he had?
I'm pretty sure he weighed in at 174 this year also. But I
Oh
guess
my gosh.
maybe he's still just the best guy there because they don't really have anyone else. But Broderson also was a smaller weight class.
He was at
I believe
84.
I was 84 last year. Does Iowa State not have anyone else in there that they can bump in either?
I don't believe so. No.
No.
Interesting. Well, the other one they have let me go to the roster, but they have Tate Nocturborn, who who's had a very, very good high school career, and actually who was him and Gabe Arnold had all those dang overtime matches last year, right?
Yep.
So I wonder if they would use him. I don't think he's at 74. I think
He's at 84.
84. Maybe they'll use him this weekend at 84 and 97. I wonder if he can beat Broderson.
They won't use him at 84 because they got Feldkamp.
Oh yeah, Feldkamp. But sorry. So at
97.
97.
I think the roll with Broderson.
You think they'll go with Broderson?
Yeah.
Yeah, they
That's
like
just-
Broderson. And he's doing
That's the kind of a
okay.
match they need to win against Iowa.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, Julian will be favored against Glazier.
yeah.
You think so? It's kind of
100%.
it's kind of like
Absolutely,
it's
he's
a
favored.
toss-up. Okay. It feels like a
Yeah.
toss-up to me.
60-40. I think Julian's favored.
Okay.
You think they need that one?
Well, I think there's a whole bunch that are like, okay, so you're gonna heavyweight, they're a clear favorite. 84, they're a clear favorite. 74, you're maybe favoring Iowa now with Gabe Arnold in there. 65, favoring Carr, but he's tough. 65, 57, you're probably favoring Franek, but Chittum could be competitive. 49, Swiderski, but it's not a gimme. 41, you're favoring Iowa, but who knows? Edgemont maybe could keep it competitive. 33, toss up, and 25, probably toss up, right? So and that's why 2 years saying great duel. It's because like, what did I say? There's 7 matches there that aren't obvious one way or the other way.
Yeah, it's gonna be a crazy one. A lot of questions about just Wisconsin in general. We got a bunch actually, but I'm not trying to give anyone any air cover, but that was going to be ugly. That was going to be an ugly duel for Wisconsin.
I think really the only upset was 125.
Yeah, that was not going to go well for them. But now you could say that shouldn't happen. They shouldn't lose that bad to Iowa State ever. Maybe true, but
it's also just I mean, obviously the thing is you'd like to see them be more competitive in certain matches, and they get tech falled twice and they get pinned twice, and then they lost a 13-point decision at 57 and an 11-point decision at 25. So it's almost like when you go through the duel and there was almost no matches where they were like, oh, they're going to win this one, or they're going to get one, or oh my God, that guy was supposed to get killed and he was really, really competitive. Mm-hmm. That's kind of, I think, what gives people that feeling. There was no sense of hope at any point throughout the duel, and that's kind of probably disappointing for Wisconsin fans.
Yeah.
But
a great performance by Iowa State, and just gives more juice for the showdown in Hilton next Sunday.
Who's covering it? JD?
I will not be there.
Oh my goodness, you're letting your home state down.
I know. We've got multiple guys boots on ground in Iowa on the team, so they unfortunately get to go to a lot of the Iowa events.
I know. Okay. Sometimes I wish I lived in Iowa. It'd be awesome.
No, only like probably 30 minutes a year.
30 minutes a year.
I mean, mine's 0. I've never wished I lived in Iowa, actually.
Well, you did, so.
No, shut up. I never wish, like currently, I guess. Maybe I said wish.
Wow.
I mean, wish.
Wow. Ben hates himself. Ben hates his former life.
I have no recollection of those memories because it was.
I remember it vividly.
In my life.
You loved it.
That's so funny.
Happiest baby on the block, they called him. Okay, let's talk a little Black Knight. Penn State had quite a few little storylines to follow there. One, the emergence, maybe we call it the emergence of Braden Davis as maybe the best option for Penn State at 125.
Yes.
He won the Black Knight. He beat Bergen in the final, but he also beat Tristan Lujan from Michigan State, who's a tough ranked guy in that semi. Also notable, Robbie Howard was majored by Bergen in the semi or quarter. So pretty, so far, Braden looks like the best guy they have. The question is, would they use him? He's a true freshman. I say you absolutely do because, one, they don't even have to make that final decision for a few more times. But two, you've got Luke Lillidahl coming in next year. So it would just make sense that you would use him now with Luke coming in. So I think I wouldn't be surprised at all if Braden ends up being the guy for Penn State.
Is Luke going to be able to stay small enough for 25? Because the Penn State jinx says no way, Jose.
Is he going to be small enough?
Is he going to be able to stay small enough? He's small enough right now. If he was there right now, he could do it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, here's the thing. He's got to be a 25-pounder because they have Nagel. Nagel has 3 years left, 2 after this one.
Yeah.
So even if Luke comes in and redshirts, Nagal's still there, and you can say, well, Nagel can move up. Well, Tyler, they've got all these logjam things because Tyler Kasek almost took Bo Bartlett to overtime.
They were that was overtime, wasn't it?
It was.
No, I don't think so. It maybe said it was, but it wasn't. I went back and watched it.
No, you're right. It was takedown third period. No, this says takedown overtime.
Yeah, I know. I don't think it was though.
It's broken.
Something's wrong.
Period 4 takedown. Now I got to go watch it and make sure.
There's no way to know.
Go ahead. Double check. Yeah, there's actually no way we can know at this point. But no, so like Kasak's redshirting.
Yeah.
So what happens with him next year? He's a 41-pounder. He can't go up. Shane Van Ness. Bo Bartlett. In a year that could be a win for Kasek. I don't know.
Yeah.
But then again,
it is getting kind of crazy how deep Penn State is because it was wild certain years. If they're missing a starter, the backup they had was like so bad. Like you'd be like, how is this guy trained at Penn State and he's this bad? And now it's like 41. They have these two guys, and then they have
David Evans.
Who had a really good ranked win. I want to say Josh Barr maybe got a ranked win.
Yes, he won.
Bear Claw lost to Mitchell in the finals, but he beat the number 8 guy in the country in the semis. And so it's like they're just so deep at so many weight classes.
Yeah, they've really developed Bear Claw really well over the years. He's tough.
Oh my gosh. No, they did. Did you just see what happened at the beginning of the Kasek Bartlett match?
No, I just went to watch
2-on-1'd him, and Bartlett backed out of bounds, and they gave a stall warning on Kasek for pushing. Yeah, so crazy, right?
At some point, I just can't even talk about it anymore.
For real.
This is just our life. While you're watching the match, Aaron Nagel was back, and he bonused his way through. No really particularly tough, top 10-ish type of guys, but he was utterly dominant. A lot of pins. Tex had some majors and a pin in the final in less than a minute. So he looks good and perfectly healthy. Good to see him back. You mentioned Josh Barr up at 184. Looks to be a seamless kind of transition for when Bernie graduates next year. And then finally, Mitchell, 8-5 over Bear Claw, gave up that late takedown to make it look a little closer.
Yeah.
But good showing by Mitchell, good showing by Bear Claw. I mean, he was coming like a honey badger at the end there.
Yeah, and Mitchell got seated lower, so it was good because then he had oh my gosh, Anthony White was one of them, but then he had someone else that was kind of ranked. Who is it? I think now I'm watching the match, so I can't go see, but it was someone else in the quarters that he had. It was.
I'll look it up.
Give me 2 seconds. I'm almost there. Brevin Casella, who he tech fauled, who is he's been an NCAA qualifier. He's a solid, tough guy from Binghamton. So two ranked guys in the quarters and the semis, and then Bear Claw in the finals.
Mm-hmm. And also, Barr beat Jacob Nolan from Binghamton, who's tough.
I thought he beat.
That's a good one. That's a good win. He beat him 2-1, so close, and then he won 6-1 in the final. So yeah, their depth is getting crazy. And then remember, Ryder and the Mirasolas come in next year.
Yeah.
At 97 and heavyweight respectively. So it's just going to get. Is there any? Neither of the Mirasolas are 84s at any point, are they?
Oh no,
never.
That's not happening.
Not happening. How'd you think they did? What were your thoughts on their performance? I was impressed.
Oh, awesome! I was really impressed. I thought, yeah. I mean, so he got the pin over Wick, and I was kind of like dumbfounded. I was like, oh my god, I can't believe that just happened. Type feeling. Because I'm like, hey, maybe he could be defensive and keep it competitive, but Evan's going to win clear, and he got in that position, just was able to hold him on his back and pin him. But then he followed it up, and he was, he couldn't quite handle the pressure of Derringer, and Derringer, got a bunch of push outs in the semis against him, but he lasted the whole match, and then he wrestled Mark Hall 4-1 very competitively in the wrestleback. So Connor, I was really impressed with. Cole, he lost maybe 8-4 to who's the guy from Cornell? Ben Honus, yeah. But it was
Ben Honus, Screen Ellis.
He wrestled him really tough, and he did kind of get beat up by JALO, maybe in the Conti semis or something. AL is really tough.
He's good.
Cole's a little smaller for that weight class, but yeah, I was really impressed. I thought they did a great job battling hard.
Yeah, no, I was impressed. I thought they both really represented themselves well. Good feel.
So
have you got to the bottom of this?
Cole's going to have 2 years left. Bo got hurt on his elbow a little bit in the middle of the second period. But Cole's going to have, 2 years to get bigger because Kirkville will have 1 year left. But man, they might. I don't know who else they got next year. They might have to start Connor, and he might be ready. I'm not sure.
I think he probably will be. Ready to do what? I don't know, but
ready to scrap.
Ready to scrap, be a top 15, 10 guy, maybe even a placer. I think so. His feel is really good. He really does have a good feel.
Yeah, 100%.
Have you got to the bottom of this? Are you watching the full match?
Yeah. Well, I think back to the bracket. I'm scrolling through. 17 seconds left. It's still tied.
It's with exactly 1 second left.
Seconds. Oh, he holds him. Oh, is it even a takedown? Oh, he's gonna pin. Oh no, it's
danger.
Oh, it's danger. I don't know if I agree with that because he gets off his back for a split second. There's one big bridge, and then, I don't know if I like this call. So we got danger 1, danger 2. Oh, dude, Kazak got off his guy. He got past 90 for a second on that big bridge. That was not 3 continuous dangers. Once you break 90, it should be a stop call, and then they should have to go again.
This match was a classic Bo Bartlett match.
I kind of thought it was a for sure danger.
Watch again. Watch when he starts counting, and then watch that big bridge. He clears 90 degrees. That's my opinion.
Is this? Do you know this because you're a geography major?
Well, that's geometry, but yeah, I know about angles.
I know. That's what. It's kind of crazy he wasn't able to pass. It kind of looked like he had a clean run to pass it there.
Yeah, Bo was able to drop weight on his knees real quick.
No, I'm cool with this. I think that's for sure 3 seconds.
Ooh, I think he gets off. I think if he clears 90 for a second there.
Man, I don't.
Yeah.
I feel like he holds him.
Yeah, Bo was able to get that foot behind the head, though, to make it really challenging.
Also of note, Kasek beat David Evans on the front side of this.
Mm-hmm.
So he's a tough cookie. Any other thoughts on the Black Knight?
I got no other thoughts. I don't think I feel like last year maybe it was a little bit deeper. This year I didn't think there was too many weight classes. 65 was actually, I think, the toughest weight class because they had Casella was ranked, Fish was ranked, Anthony White was ranked. They had a handful of ranked guys, but not a lot of the great weight classes.
Yeah, Mitchell I think looks small, man.
I agree.
Hey, send him to the creamery. Get that ice cream. Hey, I have a question. Have you still not eaten any dessert?
No. Why, you trying to give me desserts or what?
You gonna break on
No.
Thanksgiving?
No, I don't even like Thanksgiving. Remember, we've
I
had this
don't
every year we have this
don't.
discussion. Every year.
We're not
It's
doing it
really
again.
great.
And I win the discussion every year.
No,
We're
not
not
in
doing
my
it again.
house.
No, I do, because it's obvious. I always judge everything by the results, Christian. If Thanksgiving food was that good, and there would be
I cut his vine.
Oh wow. Hey,
Tyler just
Tyler
cut him.
muted you. Tyler muted you, Ben.
He's having none of this anti-Thanksgiving talk.
Wow. You know what? Tyler picks his spots. That was one to pick because it fires me up. Did you just kick him off the call altogether? Did we just lose Ben?
Now he's
No,
just
he's-
holding up the pig sign.
Listen, I love. Oh, is he really? I can't see. That's funny.
I did hit someone with that the other day, though. I was at the bank, or I don't remember where I was. I was somewhere, and they make the small talk, and they say, "Oh, you excited for Thanksgiving?" I said, Thanksgiving food sucks," and they're like, "No way!" And I'm like, "Well, I got a good argument if you want to hear it." And they're like, "Okay, what is it?" And I'm like, "Well, if Thanksgiving food is so good, surely there'd be at least one restaurant that serves Thanksgiving food 365 days a year." And they were like, "Oh shoot, you got us."
I don't think that's not a win, but
It's a win. That's a win. There's no argument. Because listen, Christian, if there was none and it was actually a good idea, you would just go start one and then you'd be a multimillionaire.
maybe I will. You know what I'm gonna call it? I'm gonna call it Ben's Place.
Ben's Place, Thanksgiving food year round, lines out the door.
You'll be so mad when I'm a multimillionaire.
I mean, honestly, there's no one else that does it. You might be a billionaire. Serve everyone everywhere in the United States.
Possible. I'll think about some other like underrated,
Cuisines.
food. There's probably a lot of opportunity there. Okay, we got to keep going though.
We gotta keep going. We got a lot of
Navy
stuff.
Classic. Luke Stout beat Silas Allred.
Oh,
I was almost mad because I watched this match and they gave a takedown to Stout, and I was like, oh my gosh, no way, they cannot count this cannot be how he wins. But right at the end of regulation, and they wave it off, and I was like, oh, okay, good, because if he had won like that, I'd be like, man, that's bad. But then it's this long scramble, and it's almost danger, and Silas clears it, and he almost scores at the end of regulation, and big hubbub, and they wipe it. And then it goes into sudden victory, and Luke just grabs the single and just like finishes so fast. It's like, oh my gosh,
Yep.
It's really gonna end like that. But it was a great win for Stout.
Yeah. Besides that, Nebraska looked pretty good though. They got a whole bunch of titles.
Yeah, they did. They're another one of the teams that has a great shot to get second this year. They're really good. They've got a lot of guys. And that's gonna be a really interesting aspect of the team race, because you look at, so when we took out the Cassiopeia and Nelson from the
Yeah, it's crazy.
rankings, they went from second to 8, but they're only 8 points out of second place. They're right there still. Imagine if they add Mr. Fast Twitch. That'd make up
Definitely a possibility.
that delta. Okay. Now, there was Keystone Classic 2. Do you have anything on that, JD?
Man.
Before we get
No,
there's so much happened.
I looked at it. I think it was too many tournaments in one weekend that everyone was just kind of like spread out from each other.
Yeah, man. Navy, Black Knight, and Keystone kind of all same
Lindenwood
weekend.
too.
Lindenwood was, oh my God, they had huge brackets. I think they split they split to gold and then freshman sophomore, but even some of the freshman sophomore, I think they split into 2 because they were so big, right, JD?
Mm-hmm. Kind of the biggest takeaways from that one were mostly from Oklahoma State's squad. Tegan Jameson beating Sammy Alvarez at 41, and Jordan Williams beating Carter Young at 49.
Bad.
Not like 19-2 or something, or 19-5.
I think it was 15-2, right?
Okay.
I believe, yeah.
Big margin there. So yeah, that's Yeah, for Oklahoma State, do we think? I mean, it's going to be Jordan this year. You have to assume, right?
After that,
Yeah, you'd have to assume.
For sure. What else happened? It was such a busy weekend.
I mean, the Virginia Tech Rutgers duel was like kind of only duel on Friday night, and that was a lot of fun. Good match.
This Rafael Hipolito, probably not this year, but he's someone that we're going to be talking about a bit, I think, eventually.
Are they going to start him over
Brady?
Yeah, Connor Brady?
I don't think so. I think he's probably a 57 pounder in if he had to be.
Okay.
But I think they're going to redshirt him this year, and I think he's a guy that will really benefit from that. You look at what he can do, and it's a lot, but then you look at there's some areas where he really, he just got to get just tightened up a little bit. But
Yeah,
the things he can do are pretty special. He has a crazy. I got to get the full story, but he's from Manaus, Brazil, which is straight Amazon jungle.
Yeah.
Yep. And moved to America, and he was a two-time Virginia State champion. He won NHSCAs, but was, sort of under the radar kind of guy. And Virginia Tech scooped him up, and he looks like he could be an impact guy down the line. What he can do on his feet and his leg attacks,
He
good athlete,
really well.
really moves, good feel. So he's gonna be a fun one to follow over the years. And man, Eddie Ventresca, it's
Struggling.
man, he's really just struggling. He lost at the Keystone as well. The Penn's second string guy. He lost to Dean really close here. I think he turns it around, but it's been tough. Butler from Rutgers impressed me at 149.
And isn't he from Oklahoma though, originally?
Yeah, but he's allowed to move.
No, I understand. I'm just saying that's the same guy that he wrestled at Oklahoma.
Yeah, he's a guy that
for like 5 years.
he pinned Pantaleo.
Oh yeah,
at the Open.
Yep.
So he really didn't push Henson, but he really slowed things down with his finishes. Like he's really hard to finish on. Henson took so many attacks. Trying to think of what else happened there.
Hey, the other sorry, totally distracted. Big result. We should talk about Mizzou at some point because there was a couple good results in there. But Illinois over North Carolina, I was kind of surprised to see that one. Illinois, and I don't know that they're going to not redshirt these guys, but they used three of their true freshmen, Webster, Scholes, and Chris Moore, to win that duel.
Yeah, that's I mean, I don't know if I'm not terribly surprised about that result.
Well, they had a not good result. They lost to Navy. That was
Mm-hmm. Yes, Scholes beat Santiago.
Webster looks really good, and Webster smashed Corbin Munson, and he wrestled that duel also.
Yeah, wonder if they use him.
He's good. I mean, he's going to be really good if he's not wrestling this year in the future.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know the other duel that looks like a lot of fun?
What's that?
Lehigh Pitt. Pitt ended up winning 24-17, but there was looked like a bunch of kind of close matches.
Brookham had another big win. Penn over Santinello.
Yeah, that's not true. That's wrong. He did not pin him. It was like a decision. And
never mind. I just saw this box score. I didn't watch the duel.
And Dayton Pitzer did not pin his guy either.
What?
What the heck is going on?
I don't know.
They both say 5 minutes on the box score sheet too. So
that's why I looked it up. I was like, that doesn't make sense because at 5 minutes there's no wrestling.
Math on it also and realized that the scores doesn't accurately reflect what's in there.
Yeah. So I asked Babe, I don't know because he just gets it from like SIDs and pastes it in there. So I don't know what happened there, but no pins, but they did win. Oh, look, he already updated it if you refresh. 2-0 for Pitzer. It did look. Beer teching maxed out 18-3. That's a lot of points.
Impressive.
Extremely. And you're right. This does look like it was a really fun duel. Cole Matthews had a win. Yeah, for sure. Good one. All right, talk about your Tigers.
Well, I mean, it was unfortunate because I said, Arizona State didn't bring their full squad, but Looked great. I was really impressed. Clayton Whiting kind of
Yes.
up on Tony Negron, who had the big win against Gavin Kane. I thought that was gonna be a really tough match for him, and he really kind of knocked it out of the park. And then Peyton looked good. I know Wilner's not great, but Peyton looked good. He had a 4-minute tech fall. And then Brock Muller had a lot of offense in his match as well. So yeah, it was just a fun environment. But it would have been better if Arizona State maybe had their full squad there.
Yeah, that it was a big beatdown. I'm certain with another pin, but he's a big bonus
pin
guy.
you if you're not really good.
Yeah,
100%.
he definitely will. Oh, speaking of pins, I was thinking Will Feldkamp had like this. I forget I think we called it thread the needle at Buffalo Gap, where you get you get the hammerlock on the back, and then you circle out front, and then you punch under the arm, and then you kind of
opposite arm. The opposite arm.
Yeah. Is that what you call it?
That's a great move. What do we call that? You know what? The hammerlock series is very underrated as far as pinning is concerned. And tilts have gotten so popular that some of these series, I don't want to say they've been forgotten about, but they don't get as much attention as they probably should. What we call it? I don't know what we call that actually. I don't have a name for it. I should have a name for it, huh?
Okay. Well, this can be Buffalo Gap's contribution to the sport if you call it thread the needle, because if we can get AWA to say it and make it their vernacular, that's a true impact.
No, that's good. You got the arm on the back and you punch it, and then they roll this shoulder up because they don't want to get their head raked in, and then boom, you punch the other side, and then it's over.
It's a good one. But you never see it. It's like it's a good high school pinning combination because if you're strong on a guy, you can just hold that wrist there.
So I don't.
You never used it.
What? You're high. I was like my second best. The hammerlock series, right, where you put the arm on the back. That was my second best pinning combination series. Yeah. But the problem is now is guys don't even try getting the arm on the back because they're just wimps and they don't want to put shoulders flat. They just want to tilt them up, like tilt, and they never bother putting the arm out on the back where they could then, do some real damage and pin someone. They just want to tilt them and get points like wimps.
We need to show Wyatt Hendrickson this turn. I'm gonna show him.
He's got to know it because it is very best at heavyweight.
Yeah, for sure. But does he know the finer points? Because I got there's some details there that he may not know.
The first detail, I'll tell you right now. The first detail is people mess up and they grab the wrist, and it's kind of easy to roll out. I need to have two left hands right now, and I don't. Right, but if you grab here and you kind of squeeze, it doesn't let them roll it out. So that's the first good one. And then I rake the head. I've never been able. No one ever stops my head rake, so I actually never have to thread the needle because I just hold the wrist, crank on the head, and then it's game over.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's a good one. Maybe it'll start to make a comeback.
It really should.
Will Feldkamp. He's a fun guy. He's got people. I'm excited for people to get to watch him a little bit more because he has a pretty unique style for how he goes about it. We should definitely get into some All-Star Classic stuff.
Oh man,
because that is literally tomorrow, and it's why we are here right now in State College. Let's get into it. We've got the full card. I think we're gonna have I don't know if we've announced the change at 141, but it's gonna be Lachlan McNeil versus Josh Coderhand because who's out?
Carlson.
Why am I forgetting? Oh yeah, Carlson. Carlson's out. So a change up there, but cool opportunity for Coderhand, who's had a nice start to his year. Let's start at the beginning. We're gonna have Matt Ramos versus Anthony Noto. This was at the time number 1 versus number 2. Now, since that time, Anthony Noto is now number 1. Ramos has lost to Camacho, and he had the Blaze loss, so he's slipped a little bit in the rankings, not too much. And I think this is a toss-up match. I'm not really sure who's the favorite. It's like if Noto is really effective from the top position, he'll probably have won. If Ramos can get, I think Ramos definitely has a neutral advantage, and I tend to side with that. I think Ramos is my pick here.
Yeah, I probably go Ramos. but wouldn't be shocked to see Noto get on top and get a turn or two because he's a beast.
What do you think, JD?
Ramos probably has the advantage if this becomes a shootout match. If Noto can slow things down, get on top, and keep Ramos down, that's his path to victory. I don't know. I don't know who wins. I think this is a match where you wrestle it 10 times, you're going to get 5 different kind of matches and results.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's going to be an exciting one.
You only get 5 because you got to get 10, right?
Well, I meant 5 and 5, like 5 guys. One guy wins 5 times and one guy wins 5 times.
Oh, okay. I was confused because 5 of them just
I guess, yeah, that was a poor way to say it. You'll get 10 different results. One guy will win 5 times, another guy will win 5 times.
Yeah, I'm not, my opinion, honestly, through everything that's happened with Ramos through you, my opinion on him hasn't changed at all. I think he's good enough to win I think he's good enough to win a title for sure. I think it's going to matter. It's going to be the day. It's going to be the matchup, and this is a great test for him.
Shout out to him. Literally already wrestling these types of matches. Literally 3 weeks into the season.
Yeah,
literally. 133, Sam Latona versus Connor McGonigal. Kind of a unique situation here with Connor and Hookham. And what are you going to do? It's like Lehigh's got a very – does any team have 2 guys that don't have red shirts that are this good? I don't think anyone does. 2 top 6 guys.
Penn's that do not have a red shirt possibility.
And also, like, we don't know that.
And or aren't suspended.
Who at Penn State? Yeah, suspensions don't count. We'll say for this. Bottom line is, I don't think there's any team that has the situation that Lehigh is currently in. Yeah. And I don't know how they solve it. You know, obviously they're not thrilled that one of their best wrestlers is not going to be able to start this year. But Connor McGonigal can win this match. Latona, he had to really scrap to beat Shaver. To the point why Caleb's so concerned about his fantasy team, which is not a good team. He's watching Shaver. He's like, he's tough. I'm adding him. So he picked him up. He wrestled Latona tough, but Latona ended up winning. Very winnable for McGonigal. I think this is also a toss-up match. I think Latona does it, but man, McGonigal's got a lot to wrestle for here. You know, he's got to keep this competition, alive, right? And beating Sam Latona would go a long way. He has, in my opinion, all of the incentive in the world to win this match.
I agree. It's has there ever been a backup in a All-Star match? It's kind of what I was thinking.
No,
I mean, unique.
Maybe they end up being the backup, but
in the latter part of the year or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Listen, there were some weird cards back in towards the end of it. You find like the 2050. If I read you some of these matches, you'd be like, wait, that really happened? Because there were some cards that were not. Yeah, I'll just stop right there.
Let's leave it at that.
We'll leave it at that.
Before we offend more people, because that's the hardest part of the show is like, doing real talk without offending people.
Yeah. Only one of them is possible. Only one of them is actually possible.
You try to offend people as little as possible while still telling the whole truth.
Yes. Number 2 versus number 3 at 149, Shane Van Ness versus Kyle Parko. Rematch from the 3rd place match where Shane was just on fire that entire tournament.
And so Parko actually wrestled yesterday at Mizzou, which was, he's one guy I thought maybe we wouldn't see because he's going to be in the All-Star. Joffrey was able to keep it close, but he was doing a lot of really good things for Parko.
I feel like Van Ness is the favorite here, not just based on the match result, but just trajectory for Shane. After his strong performance, he looked good at Journeyman. He didn't hit anyone of like renown, but still, he's very dominant. So I think he probably wins here. Plus Rec Hall factor. I think he's the favorite.
Yeah, I would agree fully.
History.
Okay, we had to change things up at 57 because no Teamer, no Haynes. So we got a little
But
creative
what happened to
here.
Haynes?
He pulled out of the event.
Oh, okay.
If you notice, competing last weekend, he wrestled his first match without a bunch of tape on his knee. His last matches, heavy tape job on, I think it's his right knee. So
Okay.
I guess would be it's something pertaining to that, although I do not know for sure.
Yeah, that is the assumption. 57, we have D2 champ versus D3 champ. We got some Wisconsin ties here. What do you know about these guys, Ben?
Well, I think only one of them has Wisconsin has Noah Hurdle, UW
Yeah.
lacrosse, great program for Division III. Dave Melchick does a great job. Noah Hurdle's from up there in Marshfield, way up north there. Hey,
Oh yeah,
yeah, and he's really gotten way better since he went to college. So, yeah, he should scrap. I don't know much about Novak. I think Novak's a Minnesota guy, pretty sure.
Yeah, he wrestled at
Sounds-
St. Cloud State.
Yeah.
so we'll D2, D3 fans will be excited for that one. Get a showdown there, and then 165, Dean Hamilton versus Isaac Olejnik. Olejnik's looked pretty good this year. I feel like he's had a ton of bonus points. Am I remembering this correctly?
Well, he just wrestled at. I mean, I think Oklahoma State brought most of their team to Lindenwood. I believe he was just. There.
Well,
Right?
not to bring it up.
I know
but
he beat Mulvaney, but Mulvaney scrapped in that match, so I'm not upset about it.
Yeah, I know, but I was surprised. I did not expect that. I thought that was going to be a pretty.
Really? Mulvaney gave up 2 slide bys like a knucklehead, which we've already discussed this, so he knows how I feel about it. But then the last 2 periods, he was putting the pressure on, and he got to Olejnik's leg, I think 3 or 4 times, and just was not able to finish because Olejnik has really tricky defense. He's long, good shin whizzer. Almost got one finish there, but wasn't able to do it. So no, I actually wasn't upset with the match at all.
Okay, so yeah, all bonus this year for Olejnik. Major pin, major pin.
He did wrestle at Lindenwood this weekend.
Yeah, no D1 guys other than Drake Rhodes were there. Or he wrestled a Bellarmine kid too. Okay, so yeah, Olejnik versus Dean. Listen, we talked about it. JD wasn't here, but we talked about it, or someone said to you, Dean Hamady, the most consistent wrestler in NCAA wrestling history, according to someone that told you that, Ben.
So now he's 0-12 against someone who's favored, more highly ranked than himself,
and he's undefeated against guys he's ranked higher than. So, but what I don't understand about that I realized this morning is how is that possible? Because you start lower ranked, so he could have at some point he had to beat guys that were ranked higher than him to achieve the high ranking.
You would think that would be the case with his freshman year, and I'm not a ranker, so I surely don't remember that much of his path, but maybe he had a bunch of kind of easy guys. I mean, I can go look. Had a bunch of easy guys.
Please don't. The sentiment holds that Dean beats who he should, and the upper echelon guys, he hadn't been able to knock them
but
off
yes,
yet.
like obviously in his first match, there's no way that he was ranked higher than the guy, right? He actually pinned Olejnik. The second weekend of the year, the Cougar Clash during so that would have been his first year of college.
Yeah.
So
I think Keith Gothard wrestled at the Cougar Clash.
all right. Keith too much credit.
He was, yeah. Hey, I didn't say he won. Anyone could enter. Anyone can enter at the Cougar Clash. It's another thing to compete and get OW at Cougar Clash.
Oh my goodness gracious!
Rarefied air. So Dean, I think, is a pretty big favorite here based on their previous history.
Yeah,
Strachey Lewis. I feel like no one's talking about this match.
Yeah,
Mackay's looks really good so far this year. I mean, last year it was just a ride out. It was not a good match to watch if you like wrestling action.
It just feels like it's going to be similar to the past 2 times they've wrestled, where it's going to be very close. It's going to be in
the first time they wrestled was amazing. That was like the best NCAA final.
But then the second and third was not great.
Yeah, well,
didn't they wrestle twice last year?
I think only twice, the NCAA final and All-Star.
because he lost to Labriola.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
The All-Star
it
last
was
year was not good.
amazing, but it feels like it's going to be similar where it might still be amazing, but the outcome will be Carter Strachey close.
Oh,
That's
got
why
it.
it's not maybe like as hyped as the first 2 times they wrestled.
Oh my God, you guys realize what are we doing right now?
I'm
We
not
need
sure.
to do picks. We're not doing picks. We need JD. We need lines and we need picks on these. Come on,
It's too
you're
late.
slacking. No,
I am
Raiders slacking.
slacking.
I'm trying to listen. I'm trying to get. I don't know. I'm trying to get into one of these, and I need to make some picks.
Hey, if anything, I need the picks more because that's how I get back
Yeah.
in this.
No, the more you pick, the worse it
Yeah,
gets,
yeah.
JD.
JD Christian was
talking about?
he was roasting you last week when you weren't here.
Uncalled for.
It was kind of funny though.
He did go
'Cause, like-
he did go over 6. How's that even possible?
It was tough.
It's like-
it was a tough start. Tough start to the season.
I mean, because the thing that makes it so crazy is like it's a coin flip. So it should be a coin flip, right?
Yes.
But man, we love you. You do such a good job with the lines that it
That's
honestly,
where all my mental energy goes. I have none left over for the picks.
yeah, you empty the tank, and I appreciate that. Okay, Parker Keckheisen versus Bernie Truex, NCAA Finals preview, possibly.
I would.
Now,
Imagine.
hey, we haven't talked about this. Another guy that could be throwing his hat in the ring at 184 is Chris Foca. He's going up.
Oh, really?
Wrestled at 84 this weekend.
Oh, I did not see that.
Yes. So he for sure could win 184. Parker,
Is he like going up guaranteed? Because Cornell had Jonathan Lowe, and then I mean they have 3 good guys above him.
yeah, I mean, I don't know what's going to happen with Lowe.
Okay, Lowe, and then 97 is big strong guy. What's it? Cardenas, and then Luis Fernandez.
Big strong guy.
And then
He's a big strong guy. I was right.
He is a
I
big-
had a vision, and I just couldn't think of the name.
He's like, yeah, he looks like a Hulk.
Yes.
I guess Benny Baker's gonna step in at 174, but yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he just
So-
drops that name. Benny Baker.
Who is Benny Baker?
I'm pretty sure Shane Sparks saw Benny Baker live in 1989.
Oh my God.
I'm pretty sure Benny Baker opened for Huey Lewis in the News.
Benny Baker. I'm looking this man up. Oh, he does not have a great wrestling.
Yeah,
set.
he
struggles.
So
He's a
I'm
saxophone
surprised
player.
to see Foca go up, especially if it's weight related. It's like, well, he already got down to weight. So is this did he just bump up for this duel, or is this like a permanent bump up?
I think he's staying up there.
Okay.
Do you have this on good intuition, or is this someone told you this?
It is good intuition.
Yeah.
Like, why would he wrestle up?
I mean,
That makes
if we could just see what his weigh-in was, then we would know. You know, if he weighed in at 177, then he's probably going down. If he weighed in at 183.8, he's probably staying right there.
Well, here's the thing behind the scenes. He was going to wrestle Mackay at the All-Star. And then he pulled out kind of before anything was announced.
Oh.
And so no one knew that, but he was going to wrestle at 174. And then obviously this sort of him wrestling up at 184 makes me feel like they decided to not go 74 this year.
Makes sense.
Okay.
Kozak
Wait.
says he's also listed on the roster at 184.
More data points. But I want to talk about Parker versus Bernie, if I may. I'm trying to
do it.
talk about your guy, Ben.
Let's do it.
What do you think? I think this is going to be – they've had 2 really competitive matches.
Mm-hmm.
It's like Parker's physicality, Bernie's, fluidity and quickness.
If I remember
What do
the
we think?
first match when Parker lost, he just wasn't able to execute on a few finishes. Bernie's kind of tricky on the defense.
Mhm.
And that's how I remember it. And then in the third place match, he was able to get a couple finishes. So I think that's gonna be the story: is can he finish when he gets in the legs?
Yep.
Yeah.
Do you think he wins?
Yeah, of course I'm picking Parker.
I'm really not sure. I'm probably siding with Parker. And this guy pinned Trent Hidley last year. Like he's a freaking beast, dude.
Mm-hmm.
NCAA finalist. So yeah, I think I'm leaning Parker right now. Curious to see how Bernie looks. So
I'm blanking right now. Did Parker beat so I know Hidley wasn't in the finals last year. Did he beat him in NCAAs also? Because he pinned him at collegiate duels. He lost him at Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
No, he beat Trey Munoz. Oh my gosh, because they seeded him 1 and Brooks and Hidley were 2 and 3, right? Wasn't that what happened?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that was what happened. That's so wild. I can't believe that happened.
That was a good deal for Parker, though.
Yeah. He beat Trey Munoz in the semis.
Yep. Okie doke. Trey Munoz, another guy to watch out for it at 84. I think those are the big 4 title contenders: Parker, Foca, Bernie, and Trey.
Yes, agreed.
Okay, 197. Aaron Brooks versus Tanner Sloan. Man, I feel like it's gonna be tough for Tanner. You're basically, you got to turn this guy, and I don't know. It's gonna be hard.
Or go for a big move like Marcus Coleman.
Yeah, I don't know if Tanner Sloan's that's his thing.
Yeah, not quite as much.
He's just got to extend positions anytime Brooks is in, make it dirty it up, and make something happen on top. I'm excited to see what game plan Tanner puts together for Aaron.
Yeah,
and then Great American Hero
match right here.
This is the match. I'm the most excited about this match out of all the matches.
It will be the last match.
Good programming note. Greg Kerfleet versus Wyatt Hendrickson, the Great American Hero versus Greg Kerfleet, the returning finalist, top-ranked guy. How do we see it going down? In Rec Hall, mind you.
Yeah.
Could be a raucous scene.
I'm so into this one. Because you know the thing is, Wyatt just goes out there and tries to make it happen every single match. It's awesome. I'm really glad his knee injury at Worlds was not very severe. I think they bring the heat. I'm going Wyatt Hendrickson.
Yeah. Would it be unethical for me to show him that my Hammerlock series before this match? I don't want to tip the scales. I don't want to tip the scales. I want to just, step back and be an observer. But
yeah,
I think there's a great opportunity here.
I mean, I don't know. Usually Hammerlock is it is actually it's the less competitive matches where you just need to pin the dude, right, and get off the mat. Better guys. I don't know if that's the jam. Maybe because Kirkfleet does end up being on his belly for a while sometimes, so maybe it's possible.
Yeah, the keys here, in all jokes aside, Wyatt's got to get off the bottom here. He got I think reversed and rode out by Wyatt, and by Greg. And he took bottom in the third. He got ridden out and then lost after he got the first takedown in the match, counter scored. But then the mat wrestling was the difference, which you would think would favor Wyatt, but it was Greg who just a lot of pressure, and Wyatt was just kind of glued there to the mat. So that'll be what's interesting. If you see Wyatt getting up and out right away, it's going to be a really, really competitive match.
Yes, I agree with that.
Okay.
I'm disappointed we didn't do picks.
Yeah, JD really messed up pretty bad.
Sad.
Sorry, guys. I wasn't sure if CP wanted to. He's going to be on the call for.
That's a good point.
His commentary might sway the outcome. So
exactly.
I'm glad you didn't let that happen.
Yeah, could that happen? I've never understood that. Like, because there's what was I used to look at this like ESPN NFL like pick'ems every week, and the guy that did the call, he would he would not predict the Monday night games. I was like, what? Do you think like they're gonna win, or your commentary is gonna? I just don't make the connection.
That's weird.
Maybe it's not as professional, but why do the picks at all? I forget which guy it was, but one of them he would just not make a pick.
He's just scared, like Shane is. Shane's scared to make picks. Yeah. This guy was too.
Yeah, it's not that serious, guys. It is a sport, it's like what's one person thinks can happen.
It'd be so awesome if at NCAA tournament, and someone's saying this in the comments, but the sprint center, it just the roof opens up and Wyatt Henderson just parachutes through there right down into the NCAA finals. That would be the most electric moment in the history of college wrestling.
It would be. It would also require a lot of electric for them to install a retractable roof at this place.
No,
but if they did,
it's already there.
It's already retractable.
No,
Just put him in the. Just put him in the rafters. Yeah, I know. Just put him in the rafters and let him come down with like a Johnny DeJulius. This is your moment. Help us rig some sort of parachuting apparatus for Wyatt so he can parachute in.
Mm-hmm.
He should really do it every match, honestly. But it would be really funny in in round one because there's gonna be 8 mats down or whatever, and he's got to be like, he's got to really stick the landing, or he's gonna land up in the wrong mat and disrupt the thing. So it really tests his precision.
So funny.
Hey, was your daughter? Was she at the Farrell and was she doing poetry? Because Andrew Spey had
Andy's a piece of work. Yes. I don't have any of her poetry with me. I should have came prepared. We did get home. We had a delay out of St. Louis last night, so we got home a little late. But yeah, she had some funny poems.
Okay, because Andrew
Her funniest
Spey.
poem was about poop. She wrote a poem about poop. How I should go read it, but it's like how you eat food and then in your body it turns into poop, and then it goes in the toilet, and then it goes in a septic tank, and then it just turns into dirt.
That doesn't sound as super poet.
It was very poetic. Very poetic.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think we can probably call it a show. Do you have anything before we go? Man, a couple. Okay. Well,
what time should I watch the All-Star tomorrow night? 6 p.m., 7 p.m., Central, Eastern?
I don't know where you're going to be. If you're on the East Coast, it starts at 7:00 sharp. And I would be remiss not to mention the fact that David Taylor is going to be on the call.
Ooh.
I'm thrilled for that opportunity. Excited to work with him. We had a production meeting last week, which went great, and I think we're gonna have some cool stuff. And he's obviously gonna bring a level of incredible expertise that I think you're gonna really enjoy. But yes, it starts at 7, 14 match card. We have 4 women's freestyle matches to get it started, and then we're gonna go in weight class order, 125 up for NCAA. So please stay tuned to that. Anything else to mention before then?
I don't think so. So when we're Wednesday afternoon. That's gonna be weird. I don't know how I'm gonna handle that.
Yeah, it's gonna be so weird talking wrestling. It's gonna be really out of your comfort zone. I can tell. We'll have so much to do because we're gonna have to be breaking down All-Star results, talking about Iowa State. Tag on it, Ben. You're just gonna hold that thing up intermittently throughout the show. I'm gonna have Amy burn it.
Can I show you the greatest part? Can I show you the greatest part?
What?
My man signed it.
He signed it.
That's backwards. You can't see it because it's a.
No, it looks normal.
Oh, it does?
Yeah.
Oh, it's showing it's backwards on my screen.
It's not a mirror. This way. Did you see his look? I know I did good when I get one of those looks per show. Ben, one thing you can say Ben wins with class, classy winner. This is a classic act like you've been there before moment. And
no, I disagree.
Like,
you're putting Shane Sparks words in my mouth. I think if you win, you get to party a little bit.
I know. I'm kidding. I hate the act like you've been there before. First of all, what if they haven't?
They haven't.
Well, I've never been here. I've never won the NCAA. I've never won, in Ben's case, he's never won any wrestling knowledge contest against me. So he's literally never been here before.
Did I not win 2 years ago? I think I'm like the 2-time running champion.
No. And also you I don't even know what I was going to say. You disrupted my joke, so I'm just going to leave. It's 11:00. I'm going to David Taylor's farm.
I don't believe you were going to go there. Stop name dropping.
All right. Well, I'll send you a video from the farm.
All right.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in. See you Wednesday at 3:30, but actually I'll see you tomorrow at 7 Eastern for the All-Star Classic. Thank you so much. Have a great Monday. See you next time. Goodbye.